right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Taking no else, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Who running the game now? Foot on the gas, can slow down. No, my team, we holding it down. We know we running it now. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change. Watch the game change, yeah. Tell them that's like, yeah, it's still la vie. I'm taking a shot for my enemies. I can't waste no more time on my energy. I know they know I got it on lock. Go against me, that's a long shot. Cause I'm counting wins all around the clock. Never doubt me, boy, I don't stop. Who do you feel when they make you the monster? I am not scared of none of you imposters. Taking the lead now while they watching. Think you should leave now while the option. Taking no else, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. I'm running the game now. Foot on the gas, can slow down, no.
Welcome to another edition of the It's Cavalier podcast. It's your boy Mac, and tonight our Cleveland Cavaliers took on the Washington Wizards within the comforts and confines of Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, where they hold a pristine 12-1 record after tonight's victory. And speaking of records, the Cavs entered tonight's matchup as winners of their last 9 against Washington. That's right, you heard that right. They were on a 9-game winning streak against the Wiz, and they were hoping to push that to double digits tonight. And you know what? That's exactly what they did. Let's talk about what they did in this one. But I can't not start off the pod by mentioning the sheer fact that Darius Garland may be concussed. I mean, let's hope for the best, right? Hopefully it's nothing major, but as Dean Wade returns in his first game back in quite some time, we lose another Cavalier for probably a couple of games with concussion. We'll have to see what ends up happening with Darius. But I can't not mention right off the top, because I mean, what are we going to talk about here? This is a 2-17 Washington Wizards team, I believe. Not much. Cavaliers took care of business tonight against a team that they were absolutely supposed to beat, and that's great. But it came at the cost of possibly Darius Garland for a couple of games, a game or two. I don't know, however long that, if he does have a concussion after getting elbowed in the head. What the fuck is up with Darius Garland's luck in regards to getting bumped on the head or slapped or punched or getting his eye poked? I don't know what it is, but this man has the worst luck in terms of facial contact. I just do not understand it. I don't get it. And I knew it. I knew it as soon as Evan Mobley was leading him with that pass. I just knew some bad shit was about to happen as I saw the Jonas Valanciunas, who almost took out Donovan Mitchell too. I was screaming at my TV. Evan kind of got him hit on that one. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be too pissed at him, but he definitely got Darius Garland. He put him in harm's way. I'll just put it that way. No fault to him. He was just trying to make a play, but man, Jonas was just right there waiting with them big ass elbows and ended up knocking out our boy DG. And he almost took out Donovan Mitchell and I almost thought he had a dislocated shoulder or some type of stinger or something. But wouldn't have been something if we lost both of these guys against a very lowly team. But thankfully, we did not. Let's just hope that Darius Garland is okay. Hopefully, it's a mild concussion at most. But yeah, that is definitely one that Darius Garland is probably going to feel, tomorrow morning. It's not going to feel great for him. There were some good things in this game, though. I thought the Cavaliers made a very, very big time effort to force feed Evan Mobley the basketball tonight. And Mobley would finish with 19 points, 10 rebounds, another double for him, 6 to 12 from the field. And we saw him drop a triple. 2 blocks, just absolutely destroyed the ball. I think it was a block on Sar, the second overall pick, if I'm not mistaken. But it was phenomenal basketball being played from Evan Mobley tonight. They made it apparent to get him the basketball after a game and a performance where he just wasn't featured a lot in his last one. And I'm glad to see that Kenny Atkinson made it an effort or made it a point to get him the basketball tonight. So that was pretty cool to see. Isaac Okoro, that is one of the cooler things to me about this season. Isaac actually entered tonight's game as the NBA's 11th best shooter in terms of three-point percentage at 46.8%. That is not me saying he is the 11th best shooter, period, in the NBA, but he's been damn efficient with his looks. It's still short volume, not enough volume to make you feel like, oh, this is going to stick all season long, but I don't know. I'm starting to feel like this version of Isaac Okoro could absolutely be a 40+% shooter on low volume. The man has just improved every season he's been in the game. I don't give a fuck, honestly, at this point. I just do not care if you don't think that Isaac Okoro hasn't lived up to the billing of a typical 5th overall pick. The man has improved every single season that he's been in the league. And it's no coincidence, in my opinion, that he's experiencing his best and probably most impactful start to a season under a head coach in Kenny Atkinson that is using him in creative and frankly new ways. It's like having Okoro screen and roll and make passes out of the short roll and simply getting him downhill. That's kind of a new wrinkle that we never really saw under JB, at least not something that we saw consistently. It's something that's always been a part of his game, but they've been asking him to do that a little bit more than we've seen in years past. And I think it's worked because we know that Isaac can put pressure on a defense with his dribble drives, right? That his penetration. He can really, really generate some gravity going downhill. And while we feel like he never gets enough foul calls and he gets clobbered a lot inside without drawing a lot of well, he does draw the contact. He just doesn't earn the fouls. The refs just have it out for Isaac Okoro. But the point is, Kenny Atkinson is using Isaac Okoro in ways that really, really would make you believe that Isaac Okoro still has a lot of untapped potential left. And I absolutely believe that this young man could be a 40+% shooter this season. I mean, seriously, the 11th rated shooter in the NBA in terms of three-point percentage entering tonight. And while he would go 2 of 5, which is going to drop his three-point percentage from 46.8% to 46.1%, that's still damn good for Isaac. As long as he is becoming more of a viable threat from outside the arc every season, I don't really have any complaints because we already know the impact that he can have on the defensive end of the court. And I get it. People are just going to harken back to the final. Well, not the finals. Jesus. I got big aspirations, guys. But people are always, the biggest complaint in regards to Isaac is always going to be, well, he hasn't done it in the postseason setting. And while that's quite understandable because we have now seen at least 3 series that defenses do not yet respect Isaac Okoro's ability to shoot their three-point shot, and they will leave his ass open all the live long day. And you've actually seen that this season. Most 90 to 95% of Isaac Okoro's triples this season have been wide open. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Teams still don't believe in his ability to shoot. But as he's climbing closer and closer to 50% from distance, they're going to have no other response but to send a defender his way, and he's going to start generating gravity. I don't care if the volume is high or not. The more shots that he makes from three-point distance, defenses are going to have to start paying attention to that. And to me, that's a credit to not only Okoro for having the confidence to take the shot, because frankly, there are so many possessions now where Isaac will either pull up or take the shot where in seasons past, Isaac would pass out of a wide open look at that. He's no longer doing that. if he does decide to, on a closeout, if he does decide to attack the closeout and get a shot at the rim, he is no longer somebody that you have to feel concerned with converting, because he's been pretty efficient at the rim too. So you're just seeing a very, very impactful version of Isaac. And I think it just goes back to the confidence that's being instilled from him by Kenny Atkinson, and just finding new and creative ways to use him. So that is definitely one of the good points from tonight. That's definitely one of the highlights of the game to me. Even though this man finished with 9 points, it's still big time performance to me. 9 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 of 8 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3-point distance, a steal and a block, and was plus 22 on the night in 30 minutes of action was Isaac Okoro. But Mobley and Isaac were not the only big time performers tonight. I thought George Niang, Sam Merrill, and Karis LeVert to a degree also had pretty stellar performances themselves. Maybe that's overselling it a little bit, but I really, really enjoyed the game that we got out of Sam Merrill, because honestly, Sam has not had the most efficient start to the season from the field, but we got to see him knock down a good number of triples tonight. He knocked down 4 of 9, and we know how impactful and how much of a threat from range this dude can be. He's a fucking flamethrower out there, but he entered the game shooting just 38.5% from the field, including 35.3% from 3-point distance. And somebody asked me earlier, what's going on with Sam Merrill? Is there something wrong? Or, why isn't he knocking down the shot at the same rate that he did last season? And to that, simply, defenses are playing him differently. They know that they have to be aware of a Sam Merrill out there. And, while he was just averaging 6.5 points and shooting just 38.5% from the field, he entered tonight with the NBA's 12th best plus minus among reserves. To me, it's one thing to have a poor shooting performance and still have a high plus minus in a few games, but to do that consistently when your shot is not falling at the percentage that we are accustomed to, and you still are able to have the NBA's 12th best plus minus among reserves, that speaks to your impact. It's not just the numbers being deceitful. They're not lying to you, because we all know you have to take plus minus at times with a grain of salt. But Sam Merrill has legitimately been impactful. And one of the most impactful things that he has done this year is play lockdown defense. I mean, entering tonight, this man, I'm going to have to find the percentages for Sam, but he is locking shit down this season. It just feels like he is staying in front of his man on a consistent basis. And there are always going to be games where Merrill is at a decided disadvantage, because he's not the biggest guy out there at 6'4", depending upon the position that Kenny Atkinson chooses to line him out at. He's going to be at a disadvantage at times. But what I like the most about Sam, even when his shot is not falling, is the fact that he will try his best on the defensive end of the floor. He's not the quickest, he's not the strongest, he's not the tallest, but he is going to give it his all. And entering tonight, Sam Merrill was holding his opponents to 49 of 124. That is good for 39.5% from the field. This dude is legitimately turning in a solid defensive season. To me, that's the ability of the 3-point shot is not the only thing that makes him effective anymore. Last season, you had an argument for that as teams consistently hunted him on the defensive end. And if his shot wasn't falling, you almost had no choice but to pull him. But this year, he's been legitimately impactful on the defensive end, and it's helped make up for the lack of a high percentage from 3-point distance. And tonight's definitely going to help after dropping 4 of 9 for sure. But you know what? Just the sheer threat of the 3-point shot opens the floor up for the drivers, the ball handlers. You saw that tonight, and you've been seeing it all season long with Sam. And that's why Kenny is consistently giving this man 20, 21, 22 minutes per game. And this is honestly a season in which he has averaged the highest minutes per game of his career. after he had 17 and a half last year. He is now playing, prior to tonight, 19 and a half minutes, and it's gonna get even better after tonight's 23 minutes. But there's a reason, trust me, that despite the shooting percentages being what they are, why Kenny Atkinson has decided to stick with Sam, because he's been legitimately impactful in multiple ways, whether it be drawing charges, whether it be the threat of the three-point shot, whether it be the playmaking at times, whether it be the defense. It's all coalescing and making him a more impactful player than he's ever been. And again, it's no coincidence that we're seeing these things happen under Kenny Atkinson, who is just, man, he's just been such a breath of fresh air for this Cleveland team. I love it, man. Absolutely love it. Dean Wade, speaking of his return to the court after missing a heavy amount of games, went scoreless. You hate to see it. 0 of 5 from the field. All of his attempts were of the three-point variety. But you know what? I just loved to have my guy back out there after he missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight games. It was great to see Dean Wade back out on that court. He did pull down 6 rebounds. He would finish as a +1 on the night, but you want to see this man have more of an impact from beyond the arc, because honestly, Dean Wade is not having the most efficient season from three-point distance. He entered tonight shooting just 35.3% from three-point distance and 39.3% from the field overall, and that is sure to drop even further after tonight's game, unfortunately. But you know what? Like I said, I am just enjoying the fact that Dean is finally back out there. The only person that we truly still need to see within this Kenny Atkinson offense is Max Strus, who has yet to make his season debut. And I mean, for the people out there that want to trade Max Strus or feel like, he doesn't offer anything with the types of players that are already giving impactful performances at his position, I don't know what to tell you, because you see what Isaac Okoro is doing, you see what Sam Merrill is doing, you see what Dean Wade has done in portions of the season. And I'm just like, Max can do all of these things and more. And I'm just like, I cannot wait to see how good of a player, especially with how good he is without the ball in his hands. So many of these off-ball looks that he's probably going to get generated now, and not having to just stand in the corners or not being asked necessarily to facilitate in ways that he was last year. I cannot wait to see Max Strus make his debut whenever that is. A player who did not suit up tonight as well, Ty Jerome, out with the flu. I thought maybe we would get a flu game from Ty, but you know what? Probably best that he wasn't out there tonight. You're playing a very lowly team in the Washington Wizards, and I'm sorry if there are any Wizards fans that eventually find their way to this specific episode, but you know who you are. You know who your team is. The Washington Wizards right now, they are fully entrenched into a rebuild. They have, short of the Cavaliers not taking this team seriously, which is a very real possibility on any given night with how good this Cavaliers team has been. It's why I say, you never want to walk into these games and feel like you already have it won. You want to take your opponent seriously on any given matchup. But if the Cavaliers come to play, there was absolutely no chance this Washington team was going to win, and that's exactly what happened tonight. But that said, it's probably a good thing that Ty Jerome wasn't out there. Just take your time and getting back and getting some rest and recovering from the flu, because we all know how rough that can be around this time of year, especially in a city like Cleveland. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, the weather probably doesn't help. But yeah, no Ty Jerome tonight, no Max Strus. But we did get Dean Wade back. And although we lost DG for maybe a game or two, however long he'll be out, and because I'm not sure if he's been diagnosed with a concussion yet, as I'm streaming right after the game, I'm hoping that we will remain one step closer to being at full strength. Something that was really awesome tonight was the fact that Jalen Tyson and Craig Porter Jr., fresh off of playing a Cleveland Charge game today, where they were both excellent in a win, where Jalen scored 25 points, grabbed 6 rebounds, and dished out 5 assists, and Craig Porter Jr. wasn't shabby himself with 13 points and 6 assists. They pulled double duty they were on the active roster tonight. We didn't get JT Thor, as Thor was in that game too, but to see Jalen and Craig Porter Jr. out there tonight, I thought that was pretty cool. That does not happen too often for the Cavaliers. So it just goes to show that this team, they find creative ways to get their guys out there when they want to evaluate them. And it certainly helps when you're blowing your opponent out. Cavaliers won 118-87. Oh, and by the way, if I didn't already mention it, another game in which the Cavaliers have yet to not score under 100 points. They have scored 100 in every game this season, 100 or more in every game this season. And that's phenomenal. I mean, I just truly do not believe that they're going to fall under that mark under Kenny with the pace that they play at, with the way that they're with the offense that they are running, the 3-point shot becoming more and more prevalent. And again, Cleveland, they attempted 46 triples tonight. They knocked them down at a clip of 35%. Oh, and when you look at Washington's, and it is not pretty, Washington shot 15% from 3-point distance. They were literally 4 of 26 from the 3-point line. And a big portion of their offense was out tonight with Kyle Kuzma not suiting up. And they did end up losing, if I am not mistaken, a handful of players, including Corey Kispert and Keontae George, rookie. But they're just down in the dumps right now. Somebody need to go over there and save Corey Kispert. I don't know what team is going to end up, trading for him, but I think Washington is probably going to start moving off of some of these pieces at some point. And it's why you keep hearing the rumors around Kyle Kuzma in the Cavaliers. And let me just say this right now. Kyle Kuzma is a solid player. We have seen him play an impactful role on a championship team. The Lakers was about 5 years now, almost 5 years ago. That said, we have seen this man play at a high level and play his role on a championship team. No matter how long ago it was, we know that he is capable of doing it. But in terms of the Cavaliers willingly trading for Kyle Kuzma, I just don't see it. It's not as if Kyle is a perfect fit for this Cavaliers team. I think people are so infatuated with the size that he has because we know, we know we need a bigger wing out there. We know we need bigger wings on the roster, and Kyle Kuzma certainly fits that billing at 6'9", 221 pounds, as he's listed at on Basketball Reference. But he's a career 33.6% shooter from deep, and he's shooting 27.6% from range this year. He ain't moving the needle. He ain't the play. He is not the guy that you go past the luxury, you start the luxury clock. Because we've all heard numerous times this season and this past offseason, the Cavaliers, they don't want to start that tax clock for real until next season. And Kuzma, to me, is just not the piece that you solidify around your core, right? Because we know we got the core 4, and if you were to trade for somebody like Kuzma with the salary that he has, because he's making around $22.5, $23 billion per season over the next couple of seasons, he's not the piece, in my opinion, that you lock your core in with. Because for better or worse, if you decide to trade for Kuzma, the core plus him, that's essentially the big players on your roster, right? And you're going to have to figure out ways to build around them over the next 3 to 4 years after you make that trade. So I don't like the Kyle Kuzma trade, and I don't think that'll end up happening. But I know that it's been reported that Cavaliers are at the very least keeping an eye on Kuzma and what he could be available for. But considering the Cavaliers are not flush with assets, and you would pretty much have to part with some combo of Karis LeVert, George Niang, or maybe you probably could include Jalen Tyson. But for salary matching purposes, the Cavaliers do not have a lot of pieces that they could offer the Wizards in order to make that trade work. Honestly, they're not going to part with a piece of the core. They don't have a lot of draft capital to give away. So to me, the Kuzma trade doesn't make a ton of sense. Players that I would love to see in Cleveland before Kuzma would be DeAndre Hunter and Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson is probably a pipe dream. I think that he is probably going to go for much more than the Cavaliers could offer based upon what we've heard that the Brooklyn Nets want for him. And DeAndre Hunter is kind of a toss-up. So after watching Hunter kind of beat the Cavs' ass in back-to-back matchups versus the Hawks, where we took collective L's, hell yeah, I would be okay with the DeAndre Hunter trade, but it all circles back to what you would feel comfortable giving up for DeAndre Hunter. It's the same conversation. And that is why so many people feel like Karis LeVert, this is going to be his last year here, no matter what. I've told you guys on numerous occasions, I legitimately entered this season with that very same belief. But Karis, through his play, has made me kind of waver on that a bit. But with the emergence of a guy like Jalen Tyson, if you end up moving on, or in the emergence of Ty Jerome, for real, if you move on from Karis, at least you know you have players that can pick up the slack. But the problem is, do the Cavaliers feel like any of these guys is worth kicking off their tax clock for? That's the biggest question. We have yet to see Max Strus out there with as well as the Cavaliers have begun this season. Part of me is like, okay, fuck it, don't do anything at all. Let's ride this out. Let's see if Max can add an even more juice to this offense, and maybe they already have a ready-made roster for championship contention. We saw them beat Boston once. We saw Boston beat them once while they were down a couple of players. But it is one thing to earn a victory over the champions in Boston during the regular season, and it's a whole nother thing to be able to compete with them in a 7-game series. Do I think they can? You bet your fucking ass I do. But that's just my opinion. I'm a homer. That's what I'm going to say. But, and by the way, I am keeping it real when I say that. I do truly believe that at full strength, this Cavaliers team can compete with anybody, including the Boston Celtics. But I have to acknowledge that the Cavaliers, there are certain deficiencies on the roster, i.e. backup 4-5. You still need to address that position, whether you're allowing JT Thor to try and develop into that, or you're acquiring one at the deadline or on the buyout market. We know that the Cavaliers need some taller wings. That has been something that the Cavaliers have needed for probably since LeBron, right? Or Lowry, rather. Or Lowry. We'll put Lowry in there. But at the end of the day, I'm conflicted on whether or not they should make a move this year, considering how fucking good they have been. I mean, seriously, it's a difficult conversation to have where your team has won so many games, had so few losses, and you're asking how can we improve? Because no team is perfect, obviously, but it is pretty damn difficult to really want to break up any of the chemistry that we have right now after they have managed to do what they've done. So I don't know. That's a question that the Cavaliers brass, Kobe Altman and company are going to have to figure out. But you know what? They got a believer in me. I've always tried to stand by Kobe because Lord knows people wanted him fired after this past the past NBA season and playoffs. Right. But at the end of the day, Kobe has fashioned a damn fine roster. He got Donovan Mitchell to buy into the Cavaliers' immediate future, and he locked down the core for the foreseeable future. So how the fuck could I be mad at Kobe when he has had an eye for talent over the past couple of seasons? No GM is perfect. No president of basketball operations, that's his official title, is perfect. But he's had some pretty big hits. Ty Jerome, that's a pretty massive find. And I hope to God that they're able to retain him because he has been a godsend this year on a very manageable contract. But I'll tell you what, some tough questions ahead for this Cavaliers team. And I think that's probably the best place to leave it off at. I think that the Cavaliers are well on their way to championship contention, but we got to take things one game at a time. And a game against the Wizards, it's probably not the best one to to beat on the table or anything like that, just because this team they had absolutely no chance tonight. The Cavaliers will take on the Denver Nuggets on Thursday. That should be a pretty good matchup. Hopefully the Cavaliers come to play. It's not always been the funnest going up against this Denver Nuggets team, but they got some injuries in their own right? Aaron Gordon's still out. Aiden Watson, my guy Deron Holmes. Hate to see that still. That sucked ass, by the way. But Cavaliers got to take it one game at a time. I am just at a point right now where I'm ready to declare them championship contenders. I hope you guys are too. As Richard Hacker says down here, I enjoy the journey, like with the Guardians. You got to, man. The journey, as they say, is the best part, right? You have to endure the bumps and the bruises, the ups and the downs. Everybody wants things to be microwaved and expedited today, but oftentimes that's just not how it works. Just enjoy it for what it is. This Cavalier season has been phenomenal. Oh, and look, I would be remiss to point out the fact that Kenny Atkinson has been named the Eastern Conference Coach of the Month for this past month. Great start for him, man. He could become, honestly, one of the best coaching hires in NBA history by season's end. Seriously, there have been 2 coaches in the Cavaliers' history to win Coach of the Year, and I think that Kenny Atkinson could be the third one. Mike Brown and Billy Fitch, if I am not mistaken, were the only 2 head coaches in Cleveland history to win that illustrious award. Not even Ty Lue managed to do so, and Ty Lue coached them to a championship. JB Bickerstaff got close a few times, and he probably should have won it in at least one of his seasons, but I legitimately believe that at the pace that this Cavaliers team has been playing at, the way that they have just been annihilating their competition on most nights, I think Kenny Atkinson is going to end up becoming the third coach in Cavaliers history to take home that award. And honestly, I can't wait. I think this award season is going to be real fun for the Cavs, assuming guys stay pretty healthy. And I think once the all-star voting opens up, we got to get these guys in, man. We got to get at least 2, hopefully 3. But we got to get at least 2 in there. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are probably the ones that stand the best chance. Evan Mobley has an outside shot. Unfortunately, I just don't think Jared Allen is going to get enough love. But hell, winning really helps. If the Atlanta Hawks and Golden State Warriors can do it with massive amount of wins, I think the Cavaliers, with the way that they have won this year, can certainly pull it off if the fans come out and, coaches, Adam Silver, somebody's going to opt out. Somebody's going to get injured. But yeah, I think that they stand a shot at least sending 2. Reaper23 says, Spida first or second team All-NBA. Ev probably second or third All-NBA this year. I'm calling it. That would be phenomenal. I think Darius Garland honestly has a case too with the way that he started the season off. And you know what? Evan Mobley is probably going to be a finalist once more for the Defensive Player of the Year. We're probably going to have guys really in the mix for 6th Man of the Year with Craig Porter Jr.'s on my mind, with Karis LeVert and obviously Ty Jerome. That one's going to be tough because Peyton Pritchard, as much as it pains me to say it, Peyton Pritchard has been phenomenal for Boston this year, and it is honestly his award to lose. We know that Bobby Hield has been pretty damn good with Golden State as well, but the moral of the story is the Cavaliers should have a pretty good award season this year. As I always tell you guys, if you'd like to reach out to me, you know how you can. It's Cavalier_pod on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and more. If you want to be added to the It's Cavalier Discord chat, you know what to do. Leave a rating, leave a review, send a screenshot of said review to itscavalier53@gmail.com, and I will send you an invite. If you're watching over on YouTube right now, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of the live Cavs coverage, videos, shorts, whatever I put out. Make sure you hit that notification bell. That said, go Cavs.